Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and welcome to another live stream. And again, just like all the other live streams I've done so far, basically we're going to do some coding challenges. Again, the purpose of these live streams are not full-on lessons. Like for that, I have all the videos that I release. Again, if you go to my YouTube channel, I'm releasing a new video 9 a.m. every weekday, Monday through Friday. Okay, and on coding that you can watch, and recommend checking them out because they're always covering cool concepts. Okay, but these live streams, what I like to do is I like to do code challenges so that way you guys can kind of like watch me go through the process to see if you pick up something cool, or just ways to think about how do you approach like a coding situation. So here at codewars.com, let's go look up a kata. Let's do level 6 one today. Highest scoring word. Character with the longest consecutive repetition. Okay, let's do that one. We just see here for a given string S, find the character C or C longest consecutive position and return, where L is the length of the repetition. Okay. If there are two or more characters with the same L, return the first in order of appearance. For an empty string, return. Okay, so that's tricky. Like the first part isn't. That little twist there at the end, where there might be ones with the same length. But let's see here. Let's give it a shot. So longest repetition. Okay. So let's see here. Let's create a thing, longest rep.js. Put the function there, that's the function. And then let's copy some of these tests. Okay. Just do this, Control C. Okay, and then first let's do this. And what I want to do is just get rid of all this. Actually, let's do it this way. Console.log. And then I'm going to get rid of that second argument. Bop. 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 There we go. Okay, so again, the idea here is to get the letter with the longest repetition. Okay, so we receive a string. Okay, so what I want to do is do this. What I'm going to do is just kind of loop over, just first do a count. Okay, and then we'll get the object. And so basically what we're going to do is use an object and then pass the letter in as a key. If it's there, we count 1. If it's not there, if it is there, then we add 1 to the count. At the end, we'll turn that object into entries, which are like arrays with the key and the value, which is exactly what we need to return. And yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so step 1, we're going to get the count. Okay, so const the split equals s.split by letter. Okay, const counter, that's going to be our counting object. Okay, and then we're going to say for actually let's just do split dot for each. Okay, item index, I'm going to loop over it. And the question is, do we already have it inside the counter? So if counter Okay, if counter item. Okay, if like that exists. I'll try to do a one-line if statement. That's the case. Then what I want to do is do counter item plus equals 1. Else, then I want counter item to equal 1. Oh, it's not gonna let me do that? I was hoping it would. I mean, I could do a ternary operator, but I was pretty sure you could do like a one-line if statement. Where am I? Well, I'm sure I could still wrap these in curly brackets, and that still would just work. Okay. Okay, so that's fine. I'll let prettier make that prettier. Boop. There we go. Okay. Now let's just return that so far. Let's return the counters just to make sure that the counter is working. Return counter. Let's run the test. Node. So notice, like, I don't try to go straight to the end. I do a piece. I want to test it out. Make sure that, you know, my assumptions so far are correct. Okay. Ah, no. It's I put the string of item. My bad. These should all be item. Okay, so item. There we go. So see, this is why I run tests. Okay, and there we get the counter. Okay. Cool. Okay, that works for me. Now what I want to do is make an array of the entries. Const entries equals object.entries, and I'm going to pass in the counter. Now this will be an array where it's like basically each of these key values is like a little 2-item array. That's so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort it so that way I have like the highest up front, and then I just return the one up front. Okay, and that should technically kind of give me the right answer. Okay, but let's just double check. Okay, so let's see here. After object.entries, then we're going to want to sort that. So entries.sort, I'm going to pass in a sorting function, which receives x and y. I'm technically going to want to do y minus x to sort them from highest to lowest. So what I want to return is y, the second item in the array, minus y x, second item in the array, because again, x and y are both going to be arrays because it's an array of entries. Okay, so that should sort it. Okay, and then what I want to do is just to make sure that I do sort it correctly. So return entries. Okay, that makes, yeah, that looks good to me. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is return entries 0, return the first thing in that array, and that looks like what I was expecting. Okay, the letter and then the count of the one that repeats the most. Okay, let me just make sure reread the challenge to make sure that this is what I expected. So A4, A4, U3. I got A4, A4, U3. So that seems to be working. So let's copy the function over. Okay, there's one possible edge case I anticipate. We'll see if the way I wrote my code doesn't handle it. A7, A4. Deeply equal A4. Now, here's the thing. We give them such find the character C or C. Okay, so I'm also supposed to check for like uppercase. I think that's the issue there. So in that case, what I want to do is always do to lowercase. To lowercase. So that way, I'm always using the lowercase version of the letter in case it's uppercase. So let's just make that change there. Okay, copy that over. So here's what I'm going to want. I want to console log entries so I can see what I had there. And then I also want to console log s so I can see what is the string that's causing the problem. Okie dokie. So expect that A7 to equal A4, which it should. Why isn't it? Like, that makes sense. A, B, B2. Not splitting it by each letter. B, 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 B. Oh, I see what it's saying. Oh, because it's supposed to be consecutive. Oh. I have to rethink that a little bit. Okay, so I'm able to get the largest repeating letter, but I'm not getting like the largest amount of consecutives. Cool. So let's think about that. Let's think about it. I don't want to go. I mean, I could always just check to see, hey, is the thing equal to what it was before? I guess I could do something like that. I'd rather not, but let's do it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to refactor this logic a little bit. So we're going to say if index 0, let's see here actually, yeah, if index 0 equals 0, then what I want to happen is, in that case, it's going to be just the first letter anyway, so it'll just end up being counter item. I'll still do the dot to lowercase just in case. Item dot to lowercase equals 1. Now else, what we want to do is check, okay, if item equals yeah, okay, if item equals the array index minus 1, so it's the item before it. So if it equals the item before it, then what I want to do is take counter item dot to lowercase. Now this doesn't work necessarily perfectly either. Because what if the larger, well, let's just set this up first. Lowercase. Okay, counter to lowercase. Counter to lowercase. Counter item to lowercase equals, or plus equals 1. Because the idea is that like technically, if that's true, that means we've already counted one, so we're adding to the counter. Else, we're recounting that letter. So counter will end up equaling 0. I mean equaling 1. Okay, because we're restarting the count. So I mean this generally should work for all of these examples. Yeah. Now the problem is, we'll see here, there's the off scenario, the edge case that this won't address is what if the larger amount of consecutives is the first batch, not the second batch. Now just see if there's any, let's just try it out. Maybe I luck out and that edge case isn't the scenario. Okay, expected. So let's see here. Undefined, okay, because there was no entries. So in that case, I need to put in a little edge case here. And if that is defined, then entries 0. Otherwise, you're going to return 0. So basically, if there wasn't a thing, that you just return that. Okay, so that passed all those tests. Again, there's still the possible edge case that what if like I have 4 B's and then 3 B's. In that case, this logic won't work. But let's see if they test it for that. Yeah. Yep. Let me just see if that's the case. For input. How do we return R1? Not count 7. Okay, so let's take that string. So that's a long string. Control copy. Make another example here. Console.log longest yeah, because there's 2 7s there, but is there another 7? Yeah, there's another 7 here. That so this is where I have to address that edge case. Ha! Okay, so let's think about that. How could I track previous counts? Okie dokie. Thinking. I could do an array. So essentially what it does, I can push an array of each count. So instead of item being okay, so in this case what we would do is we would say item equals an array with 1. Okay. Now if the item doesn't equal the previous one, then what would happen is we would say then we'd have to check to see, hey, does that index exist? If counter item exists, then I'm going to want to push a new one into it. Control C, push a new, so we'll just do dot dot push one to it. And then if not, then what we'll do is we would do counter, then we have to make a new array. So it would equal an array with 1 inside of it. Okay, now with that, let's just see where that takes us. Console.log entries. Okay. Let me just comment that one out for now. Cannot access entries before initialization. Oh, my bad. Control X. There we go. Counter item to lowercase push is not a function. Which one? On which line is it? Longest rep? Line 12. Line 12. Because theoretically, oh, I gotta change this. Okay, counter to lower, we would want to do would be in that array, so length minus 1. And then that would be plus equals 1. So let me just think here. First letter, we go in there, and technically that's index 0. So since the index is 0, it's just going to create a new array for that letter. Okay. And then here, going forward, I'll just hit save, so this cleans that all up. Okay, now, assuming that index is not 0, so for any other item in the array, so it'll check to see if the item equals the number, the letter before it. Okay, if that is the case, oh wait, this if needs to be, okay, I see this if needs to exist either way. Let's just give that a shot now that I made that one little change. Okay, so I kind of got it. So let's see here. A. Okay, with the second one, we have A 4 times. I should be having a 4 and 3 and 4 in there. I don't see that. Okay. So B with the 2. Because if it is the same, if it is the same as the number before it, I'm just adding length minus 1. That's the index. Adding 1 to that. But if it's not the same as before, I'm either pushing another 1 into the array, or creating an array. Question is, why does that not work? Why does that not show what I expect it to show? Here, I'm just going to comment out these, because really I'll know that this works just based on this one alone. A4, A4. Seems like it's still working based on the old logic. So let's see here. Let's walk through this again. Okay, so I loop through each letter. Now, if it's the first index, we're just making that equal an array of 1. If it's not the first item in the array, then we're checking, hey, does the item equal the index minus 1, which would be the previous number. If it does, I mean the previous letter, so it's consecutive. If it does equal the previous letter, then what we're going to do is we're going to say take there should be an array in that spot in the counter object, and add 1 to the last thing in that array. So -1 plus equals 1 should add to the last thing in the index. Now, if it's not consecutive, so it goes from the thing doesn't equal the previous thing, then if this item exists in the array already, then you're going to push a 1 into its array. And if not, then you just pass in a new array. For some reason, let's see here. I'm just going to console log. Put some console logs here. Console.log. Hey, just to see if that runs. Hey. Okay, and let's just see what that item is. So it pushes a 1, but I don't see another 1 in the array. That's the part that's messing with me. Which makes sense, because it should do that. Push. Console.log. Okay, so it does. So that is what I think it should be. So let's just console log the counter. Is that what I think it should be? Console.log counter. When I console log the counter, at that point it's already been cleared out. But why? Let's console log the counter at the end of each loop. Console.log counter. Okay, so let's see here. Starts out 1, 1, 2, 3. So that second array never changes. Wait, what happens if... Oh, I didn't write this in an else. Ah. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now we get the counts we want. So then I have to modify the sort. Be a little bit more complicated. Okay, what we're going to do is take x.sort and just do a standard xy equals x y minus x, so that way the highest number is up front, and do that for both arrays. Although these should probably be like y and o and p, and that should be p minus o. So that way we're not having overlapping of variables. And let me just copy that over to here. So that's going to sort the two arrays, so that way whichever is the highest count is up front, and then I can go back and do the same sort as I was doing before. Okay, I'm sure there's a simpler way of doing this. Then return x, actually y 0 minus x 0. Okay, it'll basically sort it based on the highest count in each thing. Okay, and then I can return entries 0, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to return entries 0, which is again an array, 0. That's the letter. And then I'm going to return entries 0, 1. That should be the array of counts. And then I want the first count. And then that should do it. Let's see where we are. O is not defined. Sort. Where? X dot sort. Shouldn't need to be defined. That's the definition. Okay, I'll put the parentheses around it. There we go. We get B3. That shouldn't be the answer though. Console.log xy. Or for the most part, these shouldn't be more than single counts, so honestly I can just do this. Single digits. Oh, but I wanted to do the x. Say WE equals E minus W. That should sort it the way I want. Oh, because there's 2 arguments. That's my issue. It's 2 arguments, so you need the parentheses. Okay. 3, 4. Doesn't seem to be sorting them the way I expected it to. So let me flip this. Maybe I'm just setting up this wrong. I'm not thinking about it right. Okay, let's see here. Let's console.log y and x. Let's get rid of some of these other console logs. So that way it's just a little bit clear what I'm logging. It's all gravy up to this point. Ah, I see. What I'm sorting really is, because basically the sort is really, so basically I want to sort y 1 dot sort y x1 dot sort dot sort. Let's see, did that do what I wanted to do? Okay, so let's just do the WE E minus W. Okay, our sorting function to sort them in ascending order. Perfect. Yay. So really what we're going to do is compare y1 0 to x1 0. That's fun. Okay. Don't like what this has evolved into, but okay. But it is giving me the right answer. Okay. And it should give me the right answer for all of them now. So let's comment out these. And comment out this. Okay. I'll just say, okay, again, entries, this, because again, if there is no entries because it's undefined. Say entry 0, that is undefined, otherwise then give me false, give me an array of that. Okay, that should handle all the edge cases. So let's try this out. I don't have any other random console logs hanging around. Let's get rid of this hey console log. Okay. Okay, so now we run into the issue of order. Okay, so that last one we have, see, it's 3-2, but the answer is supposed to be 7-2, and the reason is because 7 appears first. And that's because we're not sorting them. Fun. Okay, so we're a good chunk of the way there. So I just need to figure out how to... Like, I could use a map, because a map preserves order, instead of using an object for the counter. I'm trying to debate whether that's really necessary, because that's having to write in a bunch of getters and setters. It's going to be good times. Let's see here. Let's think. Well, let's just see here. What's this look like after it's sorted? Log entries. Is the 2 7s show up first before any double 3s? Yeah, it does. Yeah, we will have to. But then if it's not object.entries, then sorting it will be pretty much the same, because it's pretty much how a map saves everything, kind of as an array. We'll cross that bridge. I guess we're just going to have to use a map. So we can preserve generation, the order in which the keys are generated. So new map. So again, if it's here, so then it's going to really be counter. That out. Counter dot set. Then we pass this as the key, and then the value is going to be 1. Okay, and that's going to be the same thing over here. And in this case, it would be get the item and then not push 1. Okay, and then this is technically always going to be, we're checking whether the item exists, so that's going to be whether this returns find. Okay, now in this situation, okay, counter that get item that to lowercase, which the index would be this dot length minus 1 plus equals 1. Okay. Console.log counter. Just want to see what I got. Let's just comment out that for now. Map A to object.entries. Why doesn't it? Okay, so let me just see if there's any array methods to convert. Okay, JavaScript map methods. See if there's anything in there so I can convert it to an array. Clear, delete, map.entries. That's the thing. Okay, so. Okay, let's see here. So in this case, it would be map.entries. Let's see what we get. I was going to say that map.entries is a function, yeah. Map. Oh, that's the prototype, so wait. One.entries. Oh, okay. Or actually what I could do, I don't even need to do that. I think I can just do this. // counter. Let's console log that. Okay. So let's comment out that one. K2 still not quite what I want. Okay, because the problem is when I sort it, the alternative is this. I'll make a copy of entries. Const entries 2 equals .. counter, I guess. And then what I want to do is sort entries 2. Okay. And then we'll say const result. Because then what I can do is that now that I've sorted it out, the thing in the front should have the highest number, so then I can filter out but keep the order of the original entries. So result equals entries dot filter. Okay, and we just take the item, and we're just going to say, hey, is the item actually no, is the item second value, actually the second value is the array, and then the first number inside of it greater than or equal entries 2, the first item in that array, then which would be then the second thing there, because that'd be the subarray, and then I want the first item there. Okay, like is that greater than or equal to that? Let's just see here, console.log result. Let's see, I should get the 7 first. Use 77 at the beginning of the array. Set the beginning of the array. Do I have no other console logs? Console log results. Doesn't preserve their order. Or actually, what am I thinking? I can use find. I only need to find one. Okay, so let me just make sure that entry's still in the right order. Entries. At that point. No. But how about counter? Const counter. So K gets added first and has the highest counter too, but it's okay. Oh god, I just realized why that's the case. There's a 2 in the K before, but it's not necessarily in the same spot. Oh, good times. So K was added first, but not necessarily added first in that order. Oh wow, this just one piece of the edge case is tricky. Got it. So I have to make sure that not only. Got it. Okay, so let's see here. I could possibly use regex. So maybe like once I determine what is the longest sequence, I can then use a regex to find the first time a letter appears 3 times. So let's see how we would do that with regex. So regexer. Let me borrow the string here. Because I know the answer is 7-2. This we know. Okay, so let's see here. Non-capturing group, negative head, look more or more. Match as few as possible, match AB, 0 or more. One or more. Okay, exactly 5. Exactly 2 or more. So then if I did this, A2, well, not A2, let's just say any letter. What do you see here? /D any word digit /W. Anytime a letter. Okay, we'll just Google regex. Sure. Regex for consecutive characters. Part matched up by group 1. This will match any sequence of 3 identical characters that are either within range A through Z. Case when it's possible to regex, but you have to tell if the sequence is the match. To my knowledge, AZ3. So let's try that. Hmm. Trying to think, how would you do that next part? Oh, live streaming through OBS. I can't see all the comments you guys are all leaving, probably leaving as you watch this. ABC, CBD. Now, if I do that though, problem is only A through Z. And it's not consecutive numbers. Okay, let's take a look at string methods. JavaScript string. Index of match all. That end, repeat, replace. I mean, I guess the other way I could do this, I could do it this way. I probably should have done this way from the start. So let's do this. Okay, so what we're going to do is have the counter, which will just be an array, that starts out empty, 0. Okay, and then we're just going to loop through it. And if it's the first one, we will just set, basically what we'll do is we'll just say counter 0 equals the item, and counter 1 equals 1 if it's the first time. So any other time, again, basically the thing we need to check is like, does the item equal the previous item? Okay. Okay, so we'll have to just say we have to make 2 of these. Const counter 2. Const, this one will be result. And Control Z, result, and then counter, which will equal the same thing. Because the idea is that I need to make sure I keep track of what's the largest, but I also need to keep track of the current count. 0. So then I want to do the same thing for result. Okay, so this will be result. Okay, and that should kick everything off. Okay, and then basically what I'm going to do is like, if item is equal to the previous number, then we're just going to say counter 1 gets plus equals 1. We just add 1 to the current counter. Now, if it's not the same as the previous one, okay, first thing, either way, well, we're not going to update the counter yet, so we're going to say if counter 1, that's the count, is greater than result 1, then what we're going to do is we'll say result Then we're going to say counter 0 equals result 0. Counter 1 equals result 1. Okay, and that'll make sure that, you know, hey, this is a higher count. But then either way, what we need to do is that now counter oh wait, I should have done it the other way around. Split these. Control. Counter. Because basically before we reset the counter, we want to make sure, hey, like this is a higher count. So in that case, we want to commit that to the result as the highest count. And then the counter will then reset to the next, counting the next batch of letters, which will be counter 0 equals the item, and counter 1 equals 1. Okay, and then technically I don't need to do any of this, so all of that can just theoretically go. Then it's just a matter of returning result. So it just should be return result, because then again, if there's nothing in the array, result should already be what it should be. 7-2. There we go. We got it. Okay. It's been a journey, but we got it. Okay. So let's test it out. Oh no. No, 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 no. Why? It works for it works for the one that didn't work before. But let's see here. Now it seems like it doesn't work for the other ones. Let's see here. B3. So A4 good. B3. Mm, 7-2. Oh, because there's not an extra count. I see. So either way, we should check this, even if we add one, so that we keep it up to date. And that should, I think, do it. No. So technically, it's not equal. It's going to start 1, then it gets to there 2, 3, then 4. Oh, but I see. I need to do the if statement after. There we go. There we go. Okay. Let's try this again. Getting there. Getting there. This was a doozy. Yes. Okay, let's just make sure we have the URL here. There we go. Let's do the attempt. Yes. And submit. And we did it. Okay, cool. So that was a longer one. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this longer. Wow, it took an hour on that one. Okay, but we did it. We solved it. Long as repetitions. I'll see you all later. Not again. I think what we ended up with was a little bit more succinct than the way I originally was going about it. Yeah, we got there. We got there. I'm trying to think of like how I could make this more succinct. Actually, hey, let me take a look at other people's answers. So let's see here. Return s to lowercase dot split. Reduce if the occurrence of previous letter. Count plus 1. Else count equals 0. Count equals 1. If count is greater than accumulator 1. And okay, yeah, that makes sense. Reduce would have made sense. I like that. Okay, here they did use regex. Longest repetition, so let's see what the pattern was. S match. I'll have to think through that one. Okay, but yeah, there were some succinct ones that are a little bit more succinct than mine. I'll read those over. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up this video now. I'll see you guys later on. Again, make sure to head over to devnursery.com, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter, all that fun stuff. And also check out resources.alexmerced.com, a new listing of all my resources. I'll see you all later.